Hello, salespeople. I'm going to explain why sometimes we are so far along in a sale and we've done the math. There is a obvious ROI. The math makes sense. It's a logical decision. And still sometimes our prospects will not pull the trigger to move forward. I'm going to explain what's going on there. Who am I? I am a professional sales coach and trainer. I work with some of the world's very best salespeople. And in that, I have to sell myself and my services in order to work with them. So I am in the trenches with you. I sell every single day. I'm 100% commission and I have to practice what I preach. So my hope in this channel is that you will find that the things that I talk about here are very much based in reality and what works and not sales fluff or theory. So let's get into it. It happens to all of us sometimes where we want to just take our prospect and shake them and say, I don't understand. You need to do business with us. You're wasting money staying with who you've got or not having any solution at all. We've done the math together and I do not understand why you're not moving forward. This makes no logical sense. It's happened to all of us. Okay, I had this come up in a coaching call with a client just this week, which is why I want to talk about this. So here's the situation. We've got an account that has two buyers. Both buyers need to be on board in order for my client's solution to move forward. One of them is fully on board. They're the champion. Fantastic. The other one, although they have seen the math, is not budging. When they brought this to me and said, we've been through the numbers, we don't understand why they're not moving forward, immediately where my brain went with this is that's because people buy emotionally and justify intellectually. And if you are only working on the intellectual side of the problem, you've only solved half the equation here. All right, so let's dig into that a little bit more. If we think about any purchase that we want to buy, I'll give you an example. A few years ago, I really started to feel like I wanted a new car. The problem was the car that I had a Honda. Hondas live forever. It just would not die. There was literally nothing wrong with it, except for the fact that I had hit a curb at some point and had never taken care of it. And so I had a zip tie connecting my bumper to my vehicle. Other than that, total disaster and eyesore. There was absolutely nothing wrong with the vehicle. I had to really do a lot of hoops and jumps that I went through my brain to justify intellectually buying a new car, because the way that I'm wired, buying new cars is only something that we do once our car has been run to death. That's just the type of family that I come from. And so I was already emotionally bought in. I wanted a new car. I didn't want this car with the bumper hanging off, and I didn't want to fix the bumper because I just didn't want to put any more money into this car. I wanted a new one, but I could not get the intellectual side to come on board. Thankfully, I eventually figured out solving that equation. It was COVID. I was going to get more money for my car if I traded it in now versus a normal trade-in market. The car was paid off. I was going to be able to get $14,000 for this Honda now. That's crazy given how old it was. So I might as well strike now, right? I worked through all of the intellectual justification to get myself to buy that new car that I really wanted. But the same thing can go the other way. We may have buyers where intellectually, rationally, they are fully bought in, but emotionally they're not. So in this particular case, what I suspect is going on is that we've got a little bit of maybe a feeling of this is my territory. This is how I like to run it. I've got these maybe relationships with other suppliers that are longstanding, and emotionally, I don't want to break those relationships, even if it makes sense from a dollars and cents standpoint. Maybe I feel threatened by this other buyer trying to tell me what to do. I don't know what the situation is, but it's something emotional that has nothing to do with the rational side of the equation. And if we are looking at a problem from just the rational side, we are going to be beating our heads against the wall trying to figure out what the heck is going on. This can also show up when we are in our personal relationships. So any of you who have a significant other, you've probably had a situation where one of you in the relationship says, I've got this problem, my friend is being really mean and it's hurting my feelings and I am really sad about it and I'm frustrated, or my boss is being a jerk and I want to assert myself, but here's what's going on. The other spouse is not being invited to problem solve at that moment. Are they? They are not. They are being invited to listen and to hang out in the emotional side of that problem. And if that partner skips acknowledging the emotional side and goes directly into the rational side and says, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you talk to your boss and say this and that? Why don't you go talk to your friend and tell them how you feel? That conversation, I don't have to tell you, doesn't end well because we're not paying attention to the right end of the problem. There's an emotional side of every problem and there is a rational side of every problem, but it is our emotional brains that originally make a decision on whether or not they're going to move forward, and the rational side comes second to justify, yes, I want that or not. I know what some of you are thinking. You were thinking, but I'm a very logical person. I make all of my decisions based on data. That's not everybody, but that's some of you. How do I know? Because my father and my husband are both engineers. My husband, I'm going to pick on him right now. My husband is an engineer. He would tell you he makes decisions based on logic and data. My husband drives a luxury brand sports car. Do I need to say more? Did he make that decision based on data and logic, or did he make that decision because it's good looking and he thinks it's fun to drive? I guarantee you it's the latter. So think about the deals that you're working right now. Do you understand both the emotional and the rational side of the problem? You do need to do the math with them. Do you really also understand, do they have a personal, compelling, and emotional reason that they want to move forward with you that is outside the fact that the numbers make sense? Do you know what that is? Because if you don't, you might find out as a surprise at the end that they're not going to move forward or they went with someone else, even though the math made sense, and you don't have to let that happen to you. If you have things that you want me to cover here in this channel, we can build it together. Send them on to me. I'm happy to address them. Remember, the world's best salespeople, they are not magically born with the talent or the skill. They are not unicorns. In fact, they are trained and I train them. Good selling.